Pastor Peter Udo. Peter Udo is the founding director of Fullways Consulting, a management consulting firm that provides services in the areas of manpower support, professional development, performance improvement, and retirement planning. He has been involved in managing people and institutions at various executive management and senior management positions for over 20 years in his 27 years in the financial services industry. He is an accomplished executive with extensive experience in public and private sector organizations. Vastly experienced in both startup and growth organizations, Peter has captained some reputable financial institutions, the last one being the Managing Director, CEO of AXA Mansard Pensions Limited. Peter is driven by a strong passion for building people and institutions. With Jesus joy in our hearts, RCCG, the Life Center Youth, let us receive the ministry of Pastor Peter Udo.
Yeah, but before we go into that, we want to look at our first session, and it will be about essential life building skills, life skills. All of us, there are skills in our lives that will make us succeed or fail. That you are a teacher, or you are a captain of an aircraft, or you are a lecturer, or you are a painter, or you are an engineer, or a lawyer, or you are a doctor, or you're an accountant, or you're, what again? What do you want to be? Huh? Professor of what? English professor. How about you? Agriculturist. A farmer. At all. And you? Huh? A diplomat. Thank you. And you? Huh? A businessman. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what. No matter how good you are, if you like, come out with first class honors. You know what they call first class in university? I know most of us here are either graduates or undergraduates. Even if you have a first class, even if you're the one that made the, what do you call that person that used to make the speech? Valedictorian. If you like, be that one. If you don't have what we want to discuss here, there's only one position for you in life. Fail. And I mean it. There's nothing like by God's grace. The grace of God upon your life is already there to understand and apply what we want to discuss. That's what will make you an excellent diplomat, an excellent farmer. You know, farmers are amongst the richest people on earth. An excellent whatsoever. It's not your grades in school. It's about having the skills here that will help you to make the right choices and act correctly regarding whatever you choose in life. So, can we see this screen all over? Some people cannot see it. Hello? Now, when I don't hear your voice, I feel like I have left you. Can you see the screen? Thank you. Okay, so essential life skills amongst others a behavior development approach that is designed to address the knowledge you need in life, the kind of attitude you should have, and your skills. The first thing is what? Knowledge. Knowledge, the things they teach you, the things they can test you on. That's what you did in school. That's what you're still doing in school. Attitude. Attitude is what will make you feel bad. If I say, do you understand? If you're comfortable with, I tell you, do you understand? Are you with me? And you're looking at me. That's an attitude. Do you understand? Or are you with me like I just said now? Yeah. Yes. That's an attitude. Are you with me? And you're like, you turn and look at your neighbor. That's an attitude. And those are the things you will play out in life. And those are the things that will decide whether you'll go forward or you'll go backward. It does not matter if you have first class. Do you understand me? Okay. So, there are those abilities that help to promote mental well-being and competence in an individual. Mental well-being, competence, the ability to do things, how it's supposed to be done. Why do people require this? First, to deal with specific complex or challenging life situations and circumstances. So many of us here, as young as we are, we're already dealing with challenging life situations. Yes or no? We are dealing with it. And circumstances. If we master what we want to talk about here today, it will be easier for you. For personal growth, for personal development, for management, and for survival. Guy, you have to survive now. Very important. You have to grow. You have to develop. I want to tell you something. How many of us, I want to tell you a short story about real life. I want everybody to look at me now. Everybody, look at me now. So this farmer discovered something which is the truth about most farms and life. Every year, he will plant 100 plots of land. And every year, when it's time for harvest and he goes to harvest, he will discover that out of the 100 plots of land, only 20 plots, how many plots? 20 will fill up 80 trailers of beans. He was farming beans. So 80 trailers will be filled by beans that he harvested with how many? 20 plots. The remaining 80 plots only fill up how many trailers? 20 trailers. So he farmed 100 plots, harvested all the 100, and discovered that year in, year out, 20 plots fill up 80 trailers. Then the remaining whole 80 plots fill up how many trailers? Only 20. So the man decided something, that going forward, his best stuff, his best manure, his best fertilizer, everything will be put in these 20 that used to fill 80 trucks. So that because he knows those 20 will give him results. Do we understand? While the other 80 plots that used to fill only 20 trailer, anyhow if he managed them. And somehow it has become a principle in life. They call it Pareto's principle. It applies to everything in your life. I'm saying this because I'm going to make a request from you before I continue. The one that is closest to us, the first Pareto principle of our lives, applies to this thing. What is it called? Huh? Phone. Some people don't even remember phone again. We call it handset. Every day you wake up, less than 20% of the time you use this phone will add value to your life. Do you understand? If you make calls or receive calls and nothing else, less than 20% of your calls will improve your life. The remaining 80 or more, they are just taking away. They are adding nothing to your life. If you like, go and sit down and study every day. You see that the phone calls that will change your life for the better is about, if you made 100 calls in a day, 20 of them or less will change your life for the better. The other ones are wasting your life in one way or the other. The worst is social media. Very good place to be. You learn so much. You grow your life so much through it if you learn how to use it. Because the same rule apply. Less than 20, maximum of 20% of your visit to Snapchat, Facebook, WhatsApp, every one of them will add to your life. Do we understand? Development, survival, for individuals to translate knowledge, attitude, and values into productive lifestyle. In school, you learned, so you have knowledge, attitudes, right from home, and the things you value. How do they translate into your being somebody? Anywhere, don't wait till the end to ask me questions. If I say anything, including English, you don't understand, just stop me and tell me, Pastor, Uncle, anything you feel like. Daddy, what did you say? And I'll go back there. To build self-confidence and instill independence to take decisions effectively. Very, very key in life. That's what we're going to do will help us to do. To help individuals in self-management and to take proper decisions. A lot of people cannot manage themselves and they cannot take proper decisions. Decisions are critical. When your parents and your elderly tell you to take certain decisions, especially your generation, it will look like they don't understand. So we are going to see how much they don't understand. Of course, improving interpersonal skills of individuals. What is interpersonal skills? The ability to relate with somebody else. You know, when we had workers retreat here, somebody came to talk to us about mental health. There are some of us here, everybody hates you. In the class, the lecturer especially doesn't like your face. The class rep is a witch. Your mom constantly, of all your siblings, choose to misunderstand you. Your dad is a no-go area. Church, they are just miserable people that are disconnected from reality. Everything is just a problem. Have you experienced that or seen anybody like that before? It's real. It's difficult to say yes to it, but it's real. Everything is a problem. You don't trust anybody because the moment you start trusting, problem will come. Yet others are trusting the same person and problems are not coming. When it's like that, where is the problem? Me. I. Okay? So, promote general risk reduction. We're very, very good, especially as young people, in living dangerously. What we'll do today will help us reduce risk. So what are we going to do quickly? Oh, I knew this will happen. That is communication. Communication skills. That is what is here. And we have negotiation skills. And we have decision-making skills. Forgive the color quality. We couldn't get the right HDMI cable, so we had to make do with an old one. We said decision-making, then we have goal-setting skills. We almost know how to set goals in life. Hello? We must understand what we call self-esteem. You must, as a young person, grow up building your self-esteem. Very, very key. Of course, we need what we call value clarification and what? Assertiveness skill. We'll spend a little time there so that we understand what it means to be assertive. Assertive. And once we are done with that, we would have been through with this session. And God willing, we should be able to do that in another less than 1 hour. Okay, we have time management. Very key. Like I talked about the Pareto principle. It has to do with managing time also. So the first one is communication. In understanding interpersonal communication, we have to follow some simple steps. There are 3 of them. The first one is what? Interpersonal communication is what? Inescapable. You must communicate with somebody. Huh? Turn to your neighbor and say, you must communicate with somebody. Okay? So, communication is inescapable. There's this English that you can't not communicate. Huh? And to drive that in, the very attempt not to communicate communicates something. If I ask you, how are you? And you look at me, and you have communicated, you have answered. If I say, hey, guy, how far? You look at me and do like this and go your way. What have you done? You have answered. Because communication must not be verbal. Okay? Remember, a basic principle of communication in general, people are not mind readers. So another way to put this is, people judge you by your behavior, not your intent. Remember it in life. Remember it in life. People do not judge your intention. Nobody knows your mind. So don't go around trying to do the right thing, but sending out the wrong vibes. Nobody knows what you intended to do. So do it correctly or say it correctly. Do we understand? Number 2 is that communication between people is what? Irreversible. Once you have said something, you cannot take it back. Be very, very careful. Somebody might say, I've forgiven you, or I choose not to. You cannot take back what you have said. As a young person, never you forget that in life. I'm sure many of you here will remember many things. Like one of my uncles, very nice man, but I remember when I was an undergraduate and I had a horrible score that was deliberately given to me by a lecturer. I ran to my uncle, who was then the dean, and he looked at me and said, "Pan," that's what he calls me. I can't forget. He said, well, he speaks American, you know. Oh, well, you can win all the time. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try. It doesn't hurt to try. You can win all the time. Person who wrong may help me. What I'm telling you about happened in 1985. 19 what? 85. I'm sure some of you here have parents that were not born in 85. So, I can't forget. That man has been very nice to me after that. But I can't forget it. So please be careful what you say. Okay, are those the ones that have decided to go? Okay, choir. Yeah, is well with you. Okay. Now, a Russian proverb says, once a word goes out of your mouth, you can never swallow it again. Interpersonal communication is relative. In other words, communication does not happen in isolation. There's a cultural aspect of communication. As young people, you need to know it. There's no one single rule for communication. If you come to my place, I am from Akwa Ibom. If you're meeting the elders of my land, when you meet them, if you want to show them respect, you greet them first. You bow a little. You try to look at as many of them as you can, and you greet them. If they want to greet you further, Maybe an elder can extend his hand. Doctor, come. Are you doctor? But you can be one if you like. Aha. See, if he's the elder, extend your hand. You are the elder, so relax, extend your hand. If he's just slightly older than me, this is how I greet him, like this. And I look into his eyes to show respect, like this. If he is at the age of my father, old enough to be my father, I don't greet him. You know, what I did the first time is I put this hand on this hand like this. That is how I greet like my senior brother's friend, stops, I greet him like that. But if it's my father's age mate, I don't do this again. I use my two hands and hold him like this. That's how we greet. If it is a very elderly person, that's the one I will do what? Hold his two hands and bow well, like this. And then raise my eyes to see him again. Because most of the time, let me see you. Sit down. In the Southwest, you prostrate until they call you up. And when they call you up, you better look away. In your best interest. And that is what? Communication. So it doesn't matter whether you're saying good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Those are just words. What you're communicating is your action. Do we understand? What I'm saying casually has given me business and has cost me business. Has made me to sack a whole group of workers. Yes. They were transferred, some people were transferred from our Asaba office to Oyo in Ibadan. Ibadan in Oyo, sorry. And they went and acted funny while doing community engagement. And believe me, my company that I was MD was dropped. And that dropping cost us, well, the initial outflow from that place was in excess of 600 million. So I told them, you guys go and kick my 600 million in the face. You have just kicked your jobs out. Just a simple thing. Understanding culture is very, very key. So politeness has to do with it by way of understanding the rules. So we just talked about what? Communication. The next one is what? Negotiation. You must learn to negotiate. It's a basic skill of life. To negotiate means to communicate or confer with another in order to arrive at a settlement amicably. That is it. It also means to meet with another person and arrive at some kind of agreement. Is give or take, agree or disagree, yes, no, maybe, and understanding what you really want. Now, this picture is not clear. It is deliberately not clear. But can anybody see something? Can anybody tell me the difference between this image and this image? Just raise your hand and tell me quickly. We have to run fast. No wrong answer. Yes, please. Sorry. The first one? Oh, there's a peaceful one. Okay. The second one, like the squirrel. Okay. Any other person? Don't forget, we're talking about negotiation. Thank you for that observation. Any other person? Jesus, yes? Jemima. The first one? The first one shows that there's peace and happiness, and the second one shows there's anger and aggression. Amazing the language of this little girl. Jemima, how old are you?
9.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much for being part of our class. Very, very correct. Any other one? I think we can run with that. Really speaking, That is it. The two answers are very correct. The first one doesn't show peace. I mean, second one, you see, this is a negotiation going on. You can see some kind of smile here. And this person is trying to buy whatever is there. It looks like green apples. And there is good negotiation going in. And eventually, this thing will end with this woman getting what she wants and this woman selling what she's selling. You see this one? Have you seen this gesture? When somebody does this, what does it mean? So you can even see this one, the hair is flying up, and see her mouth. This negotiation is not going well. It's not going well. This negotiation is going well. But you know, some of us come right from homes to upbringing where we feel negotiation. When you show, like Jemima said, when you show aggression, you subdue. And this woman will always be like, you well? You know? All right. So negotiation involves what? Careful listening. Careful observation of the other party. Use of positive body language is very, very good in negotiation. Good verbal communication. Imaging yourself in the other person's position. And so on and so forth. The first one was what? Communication. The second one, negotiation. And the third one, self-esteem. This refers to the adjustment a person makes and usually maintains with regards to himself or herself. Is it the way you feel about yourself? And it's important to note that how we feel about ourselves influences how others feel about us. If you don't feel good about yourself, it will affect how others feel about you. Yes or no? Yeah. You don't believe me? Huh? You don't believe me? You believe me? What do you believe? Yes, because I used to have an Indian teacher that taught chemistry, Mr. Khan. So when Mr. Khan asks you, do you understand? You say, yes, sir. You understand what? What do you understand? Okay, so let's go. How we feel about ourselves affects how other people feel. If you feel you're small, you act in a manner that people will feel you are small. Okay? Our performance is higher when we feel good about ourselves and is lower when we feel bad about ourselves. You have a question? Huh? Sorry? Oh, okay, you were stretching. Okay. All right. Our relationship with others is affected by the way we feel about ourselves. Try to feel good. When you feel good, you relate better. When you feel good, you smile more. That is the truth. No kidding about that. Look at her. This one. Look at her. Smile. You know, the easiest way to command somebody is a smile. Is the easiest. Even whether it's in a lift, at a bus stop, anywhere, even if the person's face looks like he just finished chewing bitter cola, just beam a fine smile. You will just see instant response of a smile, except in few damaged cases. Because there are some people that right now who do that thing. Shebi I say when I come out there. Except where you really have colo situation, a smile attracts a smile. You want to be friendly, you smile. Now most of you are 18 and above. In another few years, the males that are about to become the men, you know your males now. Very soon you'll be men. You should know how to talk to women. Do you understand? So many of you here talk to girls with chat, with wrong English. Huh? Voice note containing bad English. These things are important. I'm serious. It's not just, your life should be holistic life. Someone else will speak about relationships, so that's not me. But back in my days, there was no phone, no cell phone. And you dare not go near the house of the girl you are falling in love with. So you have to find a way, write a note, and find one small boy, because you hardly will see a small girl that quickly comes. Those ones playing football outside. You know, like one white man that used to come, eventually married our landlord's daughter. He will come. He was then working with a slum, they called them Strabag Construction Company. So when he comes, he always has a note. He's from Mayen. That was her name. When he comes, he doesn't speak a lot of English. He's French. He knew my name. Peter? No, Peter? I think that's how they say it in French. Peter, I'll say, yes, sir. I say, Mayen, possible? I'll look at him, waiting for him to do the right thing. Then he'll remember. He'll bring out those days, either 5 kobo or 10 kobo. It was a lot of money. I'll collect the thing and smile. Mayen, possible? I say, Mayen, possible, sir. He'll give me the... So until a point he started getting, I think somebody told him, you are spoiling that boy. So he'll come and say, Mayen, possible? Peter! I'll look at him in the eye to again small coffee and say, Mayen, impossible. So, go and learn how to speak good English. Because those days when we go and write those things, you know, the easiest way to get good notes then to write to a girl was there was an artist called Don Williams, Kenny Rogers. So you go to some novels, Mills and Boons, and copy some sweet lines and send. You forget that the girl has listened and read the same thing. So she will now use red pen and underline and write there, Don Williams. All right, so self-esteem helps. We want to look at this. Please, let's pay attention. It is very critical. There is something called what? Let's read it together. And this? This is what you use in knowing somebody with high self-esteem. The person is what? Assertive, confident, caring. God bless you. Somebody with low self-esteem. Look at that. Read. Yes. Yes. Yeah. If you look at yourself and your friends, I bet you already you can begin to think whether you have a good self-esteem or a low self-esteem. Most arrogant people have low self-esteem. Most people that are unnecessarily critical have low esteem. They don't trust. Rebellious, insecure, inferiority complex. And when you do all of this, you expose people to talk to you anyhow. But this fellow, which we are going to see now, is assertive, confident, caring, relates well with people, and is respectful. So, let's look at the strategies for you to improve your self-esteem. Be patient with yourself. Accept your weaknesses and be committed to changing them. Constant positive reinforcement helps. Tell yourself, I can do this. Supportive environment helps. Please. I learned something early in my life. As much as I can afford it, I stay away from where I am tolerated. I don't stick around people or environments that tolerate me. Where do I stay? I stay with people that celebrate me. No matter how big you are. I remember when I was in secondary school, one of my closest friends, the father was then the deputy governor of my state. I discovered when I go to their house, these people behave as if a small God has entered. And we became very close friends till now. We're all old men now. But I had others, as at that time, One of them was still in the political circle. I go to their house, and you can tell right from the gate that it's a privilege to enter. His name was, my friend's name was also Peter, like myself. And I told him outrightly, if you want to see me, come to my house. I don't like your house. Very simple. Okay? So environments help. And we look at factors that contribute to low self-esteem. This was for high self-esteem. Lack of positive environment, or one with constant criticism. If you're in an environment, somebody is trying to always prove that you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, it can make you begin to have low self-esteem. If you can, please disassociate with an environment that somebody is always trying to prove that you're not good enough, always criticizing you. Inconsistency with the nature of one's upbringing. There are certain upbringings that when you're taken to a different place, you feel insecure, okay? Socioeconomic instability. I want to rush to somewhere. Yes, here. Let's look at, I just pick one out of all of this here. Where is that place? I'll pick one out of this. Yes. We can pick all of them and talk, but that will not permit. So let's look at assertiveness. Assertiveness. What is this about? It means taking the initiative to deal with a problem in a constructive, self-protective manner. This is what I want all of us here to learn. To be what? Assertive. Can you say it to yourself? Assertive. We need it. Assertiveness attacks the problem and not the person. Okay? The opposite of assertiveness is what? Aggressiveness. I'll give you a typical example of assertiveness. Okay, I came to this place around 8 o'clock, a few minutes to 8. I dropped the projector, and I told them I have a training somewhere in an investment banking group, and I'll come at about this time that I came, or a little earlier rather. Before I come, before people are seated, please mount it, because I don't want to come and disrupt the space with me trying to set this up. When I came here, the first thing is, where's the projector? They're asking me projector that I dropped 8 o'clock. I knew problem has come. I knew that there was a preparation, because they asked me for my profile. So I know youths, they are very tech people. So they would have prepared that thing they wanted to show on a slide. My apologies to the organizing committee. I appreciate that beautiful thing I saw on myself. Yeah, thank you so much. Who the clap? But at that point, I could have shown aggression, because I wasn't just coming as a facilitator. I'm the assistant pastor of this parish. I had brought the projector. I had given an instruction. So here I come. I'll come and stand in front of all these my children and begin to fiddle with computer, with this looking a little foolish if I don't know how to conduct myself. For some people, that could lead to what? Aggression. But if you are assertive, what are you looking at? The problem and not the person. How do I solve? So we have some people, no matter how highly placed, and no matter the location, even in church, that express aggressiveness instead of assertiveness. It affects results. Not that you won't get the result you'll get, but it will take you more pains, more energy, and more time. So let's look at aggressiveness. Aggressiveness attacks the other person rather than the problem. It represents a destructive desire to dominate another person or to force a position or viewpoint on another person. It starts a fight and ends in quarrels. So you don't want to be here. You want to be somewhere here. The main difference is just that the body, just like when you're exposed to pain, your body will shift because it has sensory stops. Emotionally, your body also has a defense mechanism. If I am empty, like you hear, empty vessels do what? They make loud noise. If I know that I am not competent in using this slide commander, and somebody wants to come and discuss the use of this slide commander, immediately he mentions slide, I'll just start, I'm going to provoke for nothing. Do you understand? When you approach a person and you see a violent reaction, most of the time the person is empty on that subject matter. His body defense mechanism immediately throws out space. Aggression is an order for space. The more aggressive, the more space, the more the person goes back, and you're now in your comfort zone of, you know you don't know it. You know you don't have it. But once you are in terms with the things we're talking about, even when you don't know it, even when you don't have it, you can have the right skills to engage the person in a manner that you stick to the part of being assertive. So assertive behavior makes you feel better about yourself, confident and respected by others. Okay? An assertive person is one who knows his right, demands and defends it without violating others. A non-assertive person knows his rights, but allows others to deny him of such rights. When you begin to make noise about something you shouldn't make noise, you create room for people to begin to discuss about a matter you should have closed. So you might lose out of it. It is a skill you can master. And, oh, this image is not good here. Can anybody see anything here? What can you see? No, I want somebody to give it a name. Can anybody give that picture a name? Yes? Okay, research around. Okay, can another person name the picture? Yes? Time is money. I like that. Time is money. So talking time management. Time management is the process of organizing yourself and your activities to achieve the best results within a given time. Everybody has 24 hours a day. Some use it and achieve amazing results. Others use it and wonder, how did the day go? You remember that old saying? They say there are 3 types of people in the world. Those that make things happen. Have you heard it before? 3 types. Okay, what is the first? Those that make things. The second one, those that watch things happen. And the third one, those that wonder what happened. Every day you wake up, those are the 3 people you find in life. Those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that altogether just wonder what happened and fall back to their Facebook and Instagram. Okay. Everyone has 24 hours and different results. Effective use of time can be the difference between a successful individual and a failure. It is important that we know that effective use of time includes listing your day's activities. Please do. Even days I don't list my activity, I get things jumbled up. Arranging them in order of importance, allocating time to each activity, keeping within the time allocated as much as possible, assessing how well the activities have been accomplished, reallocating time for those not yet accomplished. I'll tell you a crazy thing. If my wife were here, she'll tell you that story better. When I was a whole lot younger, I was a freak for time management. And I was so terribly in love with my girlfriend that I got married to eventually, my wife. So what I used to do is that when I do my activities for the day and the time, I'll put her on. That is, I know when I'll see her and how long I will spend. Do you understand? Does it make sense? Don't try to do spirit on this one as the Spirit leads or leads. Allocate time for your studies, for your exercises, for your visit to friends. You know, time you want to spend even in self-reflection and your spiritual activities. If you don't, there are so many things you will not do. You cannot do. And it is difficult to redeem time. And no matter how good you are, there's something they call work-life balance. For those of us that are students now, your work is what? School, studying. And you're supposed to balance it with life. Some leisure should be able to recreate. Regrettably, these days, things are so expensive. Distances are so far. So many people in this room have never entered a cinema hall. How many people here have entered a cinema hall before? See? So many have not. And it's not a bad place to be, to learn. But you'll see that even if you could, you must allot time. It's not a place that becomes a lifestyle, including physical exercise. Some of you might think because, you know, you're not as fat as myself, so there's no need to bother about physical exercise. That is far from correct. You allot time even for that. And of course, it leads us to decision making. Decision making is critical, especially for young people. The decide of decision, the D stands for what? Do we know what is decision? Can anybody just tell us, what do you mean by decision? Anybody? Don't forget the rule of this class. No wrong answer. So tell me, what do you understand? Yes, sir? Making a choice between different alternatives. That's a decision. Any other person? Okay, that's good. That's a very good one. Thank you. Can we clap for him? And can we clap for this class? You guys have been wonderful so far. Okay, can we give this class a round of applause? The D stands for what? E stands for what? C stands for what? I stands for what? And the second D stands for what? And the E stands for evaluate. Every time you want to decide, make sure you know what you want to decide on. And like he said, what are the alternatives? Once you're talking alternatives, you're going to be thinking in terms of consequences. Weigh them. You know, at the beginning we talked about Pareto's principle in doing your time management. Identify what? Your best opportunities out of what you have weighed. Deliberate this. Most of this happens in split. Your brain is a fantastic machine. It can do most of this in a fraction of a moment. So, decision making are there. You have the tools for good decisions, self-awareness, we've talked about that, clarified values, understanding and being sure of personal and family values is important for good decision making. Don't let anybody fool you. You know, I was at the convocation or at my daughter Nora's school during her graduation at Afe Babalola. And the speaker for that day, the guest speaker, was the vice president then, Osibanjo, he said something. He said, look, in this life, it doesn't matter if you're the one that just read a valedictory speech, those of you that have won scores of awards, those of you that have finished with your first class and second class up and all the high classes. The difference between where you are and your God-given place lies in somebody. Learn how to relate with somebody. Now, the worst person you want to miss in that relating is family. If you miss it at that point, you may have missed it for life, both physically and spiritually. Know what your family values are, especially where they are positive, and consider them whenever you have to take decisions, because you don't want to be a killer. There are some families that are so sensitive about the things that concern you that a little thing like this, and man, it's not an easy reaction. I'll tell you, for example, so many of our students from Gwagwalada wanted to be at the camp. But at the church leadership level, we were concerned about movement. God has been faithful. We have never recorded any negative report for all the years. Every Sunday, every midweek, we are moving children from Gwagwalada here and back. But we had to think with certain values as family and said at that hour of the night, you guys join online. Those little things, when you're deciding whether it's in choice of whatever, don't forget your fundamental values. Make sure they are clear. Information, you need to have enough information and facts about all aspects of the issue before you do a decision making. One of them, last Saturday we were here on recruitment fair. Most of us here were there. We had scores of those white people that came talking about Japa or not Japa, schooling abroad, working abroad, and all of that. Please understand the terrain. Seek information and seek more information. It's very difficult to admit you committed an error. You want to stay there and correct it so that people will not laugh at you. And you waste most of your life in regret, living what we call suboptimal living if you don't plan well. But if you plan well, you get to that place and you'll be issuing instruction to white people and they'll be glad to do what you want because you knew where you were going and what you do right from the beginning. You should have clear values. We've talked about that. And of course, we are closing out looking at goals setting. This is a process of determining what you want to do or to achieve within a time frame. Please do not live a goalless life. Your goals can be broken into sub-goals. You should have goals in everything that you do so that you know when you have attained. If you don't have a goal, you will not, they say running a speed, if you're running a speed at the wrong direction will get you to what? Will never get you to destination. If you want to go to Lagos and you turn and you face your car to Sokoto and you do 200 kilometers per hour throughout, where will you get to? Sokoto. You can get to anywhere, but certainly not Lagos. So set your goals straight from the beginning. Setting a goal is an activity that enables us to plan. It's very key. You have the long-term goals, like what you want to be. Some of us here said they want to be diplomats, want to be an engineer, want to be a tailor. You also have short-term goals. Things you want to achieve very soon, such as getting enough money to buy what you want to buy. Your goals, time will not permit this. An exercise we used to do should be what we call SMART. Has anybody ever heard of SMART goals? should be smart. I know they teach you now in school. Your goal should be smart. Smart means it should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be acceptable, and of course, your goal should be realistic, and it should be with a time frame. For example, if we say the Youth Fellowship of the Life Center intends to do a boot camp to train the youth on personal development using facilitators from Abuja to take place at the Life Center before 30th November 2023. I wish I could illustrate that. It is specific. What is specific about that? It's talking about the youth fellowship of this church to do training. So it's a specific goal. It is measurable. Measurable because it talks about exactly what will be attained. If we're not talking about personal development, capacity building, then we cannot measure what was imparted. This one can be measured if the content tallies with that. It should be acceptable. It should be realistic. I mean, we have the facility, we have the resource people, and it therefore is realistic and acceptable. And of course, we've said letters by 30th of November, and we're doing it today. So a goal could be set that way. I want to get us to the conclusion of this. The 6 life skills applicable to all situations. Analyzing the situation is one. Can we read this together? 1, 2, go. Analyzing this. Second. Third. Fourth. Fifth. Exactly. And final. That's what we've been discussing so far. If we do this, we are building ourselves for growth, for development, analyzing every situation, realistic objective, we must always have it in view, appropriate ways of behaving, we've talked about that, from communication to culture. Controlling how you behave is in your hands. It's not for someone else for you to lay blames, because if it has spoiled, it has spoiled. Shaping other people's behavior and influencing other people. We talked about being what? Assertive as against being what? Aggressive. Aggression really takes you nowhere. Assertive takes you everywhere. And then, of course, monitoring our behaviors. So don't forget, on the final note, listening. Listening is an important aspect of building yourself. This is as important as what? Speaking. Why? Many people, rather than listening, spend their time thinking of the next thing they are going to say. And thus they take in virtually nothing at all. Don't be a victim of this. If you want to be superior in life, when somebody starts a conversation or an argument, keep quiet. Let the person exhaust his or herself. And you have heard thoroughly what the person said. When the person has finished, you know how to be superior? You start by simply saying, honestly, you have good points, valid points. I will not discountenance that. But you see, the moment you tell somebody you have done well, I agree with you largely, the person, you have already calmed the person down. When you now say, but you see, and you now put across your point, you have opened up the person to your perspective. And if the person has anything here, if yours is superior, he or she will not miss it. And that's how you become what? Assertive. You accommodate the person, let the person know that he's acknowledged or she's acknowledged, and then put across your own. That's how you'll just be winning your way. It's as simple as that. But you can't do that if you do not learn to listen. So finally, Be tactful with life. Tactful, T stands for what? A. C. 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 Good. T. F. F again. We have said that many times today. U. Very key. If you want to get past the person you're seeing present, get to the inner feeling and you break the person. And you have your way, including your boss, including however that person is big, even in the college. Okay? L. Listen to feedback. Some might be painful, but please, if you're this tactful in your approach to life, you are bound to have an experience where you are set to engage life in a manner that is productive, in a manner that is victorious, and in a manner that you don't begin to wonder if God is there. There's nothing wrong with saying what God does not do does not exist. No, because that is a very true statement. But there's something like what God will not do. They exist. Many things he will not do. Many, many things. So, don't put yourself in a situation where God will not do what he will not do. Praise the Lord. So, we will revisit all of these points. Like I said, they're all going to be all in your mails. And if we go through all of the essential life skills that we have gone through, I can assure you that we would have taken a very giant step in building ourselves. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. Can we celebrate our pastor one more time? With a big thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir.